Imagine this for a moment. What if the reason wealth feels distant isn't because you're unlucky, not smart enough, or not working hard enough, but because you're giving away the very energy that creates it? What if abundance has been trying to reach you, but you've been leaking the power that attracts it? Stay with me, because once you understand this, something inside you will shift. Jacobo Grinberg, the scientist the world tried to forget, believed that reality isn't something outside of us. It's not random, it's not fixed. It's something we co-create moment by moment through our attention, our emotional field, and the way our consciousness interacts with what he called the lattice. And in his research, he noticed something strange. People who remained stuck in scarcity had one thing in common. They kept giving away the exact energies that make abundance possible. They didn't lose wealth, they leaked. This isn't the usual motivational talk. We're going deeper into the space where neuroscience, mysticism, and raw human experience meet. Grinberg spent years studying shamans in Mexico, trying to understand why some of them seem to bend reality in ways our logical mind can't explain. He wasn't a dreamer. He was a trained psychologist, a researcher, a man who believed consciousness had rules, patterns, and codes that shape our lives. One of the things he discovered, something rarely talked about, is that the brain doesn't just think, it receives. It picks up information from a larger energetic field, almost like an antenna, and depending on what you give away, your signal weakens, your frequency drops, and your connection to abundance becomes unstable. That's the part most people miss. They think wealth is about strategy, hustle, or luck. But according to Grinberg, wealth is first an energetic alignment. Before money arrives physically, it arrives mentally, as clarity, intention, and emotional coherence. The moment you give away the wrong things, you break that coherence. In this video, you're going to learn the 7 things you must stop giving away if you want to build real wealth. Not temporary money, not random opportunities, but lasting abundance that grows from your inner field. These are things you've probably done without realizing it, things that silently drain your potential, distort your perception, and weaken your connection to the creative field around you. And here's the twist most people never hear. Grinberg didn't just talk about consciousness. He warned about the dangers of unconscious exchanges, moments where you trade your energy for approval, for comfort, for distraction, and don't even notice it happening. He believed these tiny leaks were powerful enough to alter your reality. So if you've ever felt like you're trying hard but not moving forward, if you've ever wondered why some people attract opportunities effortlessly while others struggle endlessly, if you've ever felt that something invisible is blocking your abundance, you're in the right place. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which energetic habits are holding you back. You'll also understand why stopping these leaks doesn't just change your finances, it changes the way reality responds to you. And trust me, the 7th one is something almost no one connects to wealth, yet it might be the most important shift you ever make. So get comfortable, stay open, and follow this all the way through. What you're about to hear could genuinely reshape how you experience abundance from this moment forward. Welcome to Awakened Synchronicity, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an awakening like this one. Before we talk about the 7 things you must stop giving away, we need to understand the foundation behind all of this, the part of Jacobo Grinberg's work that most people never hear about, because without this piece, nothing else makes sense. Before we talk about habits, actions, and energy leaks, we have to talk about the field you live in, the field you interact with, and the field that responds to you every second of your life. Grinberg called this field the lattice, a universal energetic structure that exists beneath everything you see, touch, and experience. And according to him, you're not just living inside this field, you're connected to it, feeding it, shaping it, and receiving information from it all the time. Grinberg believed that the brain is not just an organ that processes thoughts. He said it acts more like a receiver, similar to an antenna. It doesn't only create signals, it picks them up. It translates patterns from the lattice into what you call reality. This is why two people can live in the same world, but experience completely different lives. It's not just their choices, it's their inner field, their neuronal vibration, their connection or disconnection from the larger energetic structure around them. And then this part is crucial. Your brain doesn't operate in isolation. It's constantly interacting with the lattice, tuning into frequencies, absorbing information, and projecting your internal state back into the field. In Grinberg's view, reality is not something fixed that you walk through like a hallway. Reality is something you co-create through the way your consciousness interacts with the energetic field. Your attention, your emotions, your beliefs, all of these shape the signals your brain sends out and receives. When your inner field is clear and coherent, the lattice responds with clarity. When your inner field is chaotic or fragmented, the lattice reflects that confusion back into your experience. That is why Grinberg insisted that your moral reality is not separate from your internal world. You're not just observing life, you're participating in its construction. This is where things get interesting, because if your brain is constantly exchanging information with the lattice, then everything you give away affects that connection. And Grinberg didn't mean giving away money or objects. He meant giving away your attention, your emotional energy, your beliefs, your sense of identity, your focus, your time. These are not just psychological things, they are energetic signals. They are pieces of information that your neuronal field broadcasts. And every time you give them away carelessly, you weaken your frequency in the lattice. You distort your signal. You confuse the field that's trying to respond to you. This is why some people feel stuck even though they're trying hard. Their inner field is full of leaks. They're giving away their energy without realizing it, and the lattice responds to that imbalance. According to Grinberg, the lattice doesn't judge, reward, or punish. It simply mirrors your internal state. If your energy is scattered, the field sends back scattered results. If your inner world is in scarcity, reality reflects scarcity. If your attention is constantly pulled outward, your creative power weakens. That's the exchange happening behind the scenes, the invisible conversation between your brain and the universal field. And here's the deeper layer. What you give away energetically becomes part of the information you broadcast. Every thought you obsess over, every emotion you feed, every belief you cling to, all of it is shaping the hologram of your reality. Grinberg believed that consciousness is not passive. It is a creative force that molds the energetic fabric around you, which means that wealth is not only about external effort. It begins in the unseen, in the silent interaction between your neuronal field and the lattice. Before money appears in your hands, it appears in your energy. Before abundance shows up in your life, it shows up in your frequency. So as we move forward, keep this in mind. Nothing you give away is just a thought or just a feeling. In Grinberg's world, every inner movement carries energetic weight. Every mental pattern becomes part of the reality you're shaping. And the more aware you become of what you're handing over, the more power you reclaim from the field that surrounds you. Before we can talk about attracting wealth, we have to talk about the places where you silently lose it. And the first place it slips away is your attention. Your attention is not just focus or interest. It is one of the strongest forms of energy you possess. It's your inner currency. Whatever you give attention to grows, expands, and becomes more real in your life. Jacobo Grinberg believed that attention is the key mechanism through which your consciousness interacts with the lattice. When your attention is strong, stable, and intentional, your connection to the field becomes powerful. You can shape reality more clearly. But when your attention is scattered everywhere, jumping from distraction to distraction, from problem to problem, from fear to fear, your internal signal weakens. The field can't respond to you properly because your mind is broadcasting 1,000 tiny messages instead of one coherent direction. Think about how often you give away your attention without meaning to. Every notification, every useless argument, Every moment spent comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel drains you. According to Grinberg, scattered attention doesn't just waste time, it fractures your energetic field. A fractured field leads to fractured results. This is why some people feel like they can't manifest anything significant. Their attention is leaking from everywhere, and the lattice mirrors that instability. But when you pull your attention back, when you invest it consciously, when you decide what deserves your focus and what doesn't, you regain power instantly. You stop feeding distractions and start feeding your abundance. This shift alone can change the direction of your life. Protecting your attention is protecting your ability to create. As we move deeper, the second thing you must stop giving away is your belief in limitations. Most people don't realize that their beliefs were not chosen. They were inherited. Family stories, cultural conditioning, religious teachings, social expectations, all of these shape what we believe is possible or impossible. Many of us carry beliefs that act like invisible walls around wealth. Ideas like money is evil, rich people are greedy, you have to suffer to succeed, or people like me can't be wealthy. These beliefs sound harmless, but to Grinberg, they are distortions in your neural field. They twist your connection to the lattice, sending mixed signals into the energetic structure that shapes your reality. Grinberg's work invites us to examine every belief we hold about abundance. He believed that beliefs are not just thoughts, they are patterns of energy. They influence how your brain receives and interprets signals from the field. If your beliefs are rooted in scarcity, you will tune into scarcity. If your beliefs are rooted in fear, the field will reflect fear. Beliefs are like filters, shaping the version of reality your consciousness can access. So if you want wealth, you can't keep giving away your power to limiting beliefs. You must stop accepting stories that don't align with who you want to become. When you recognize a limiting belief, question it, pull it apart. Replace it with something empowering, something aligned with growth. Reprogramming your inner conversation is not pretending. It's tuning your field to a new frequency. The third thing you must stop giving away is your emotional energy. Emotions are not random reactions happening inside you. They are vibrations that shape the way your consciousness interacts with the lattice. Grinberg believed that emotions change the structure of your neuronal field. They can either strengthen your connection or weaken it completely. Fear, guilt, regret, shame, scarcity. These emotions collapse your field. They shrink your perception. They lower your frequency, and the lattice mirrors that contraction back into your life. When you stay stuck in negative emotions, you're not just feeling bad, you're tuning into a version of reality that matches that state. Most people waste their emotional energy reacting to things they cannot control. They hand their emotions to other people's opinions, to bad memories, to fears about the future. Every emotional reaction is like giving away a piece of your power. But Grinberg taught something different. Emotions are information, they're signals. You're not supposed to drown in them or suppress them. You're supposed to observe them. When you observe an emotion without reacting, you take your power back. You stop feeding the low vibration and instead convert it into clarity. Anger becomes boundaries, fear becomes caution, sadness becomes release. Instead of giving away your emotional energy, you shape it, you alchemize it, and that transformation strengthens your field. The fourth thing you must stop giving away is your identity to external expectations. This is one of the deepest wounds in modern life. From childhood, we're trained to see ourselves through the eyes of others. We're told who to be, what to study, how to behave, what success should look like. Slowly, we give away our true identity. We become a patchwork of expectations, parents, teachers, society, culture, partners. We build an identity that pleases the outside world but suffocates the inner one. According to Grinberg, this false identity blocks your natural connection to the lattice. It limits your perception. It traps you in a version of reality that isn't yours. Grinberg talked about the idea of no self, a state where you stop clinging to labels. Not because you disappear, but because you drop the false image and reconnect with your authentic, energetic field. In that state, you experience a flow, a deep alignment between your consciousness and the universal field. When you stop giving your identity to external expectations, you make space for your true self to emerge. And that true self is far more powerful than any identity society could build for you. When you let go of labels like "I'm not good enough," "I'm not smart," "I'm not the type of person who succeeds," something shifts. Your field expands. Your perception changes. You start seeing opportunities that were invisible before. You stop living for approval and start living from alignment. You begin to make decisions based on intuition, not fear. And the lattice responds to that authenticity. People with a strong sense of self don't manifest by accident. Their clarity creates a clearer signal. Their field becomes coherent. And abundance moves toward coherence like metal to a magnet. So as you move forward, pay attention to where you give yourself away. Every time you adjust your identity to fit in, you weaken your energetic field. Every time you pretend, shrink, or play small, you lose alignment. Your true path, the one aligned with abundance, purpose, and clarity, never emerges from a fake identity. It emerges from your real one. And that's the self Grinberg wanted you to use to co-create your reality. The fifth thing you must stop giving away is your power through the words you speak. Most people don't realize how deeply language shapes their reality. They talk casually, repeating phrases they've heard their whole lives, not knowing that every sentence is carving a path inside their mind. Jacobo Grinberg believed that thoughts are not isolated mental events, they're electrical patterns in the neuronal field, and language is the tool that structures those thoughts. The words you choose become the architecture of your inner world. When you constantly say things like "I can't," "I don't have," "I'm not lucky," "It's too hard," you're not just complaining, you're broadcasting scarcity into the lattice. You're weakening your field with every phrase. The lattice reads those words as instructions. When you speak from limitation, you signal limitation. When you speak from doubt, you signal doubt. Most people don't understand that the lattice is neutral. It doesn't judge or interpret like a human. It mirrors the vibrations you send. So if your language constantly reflects powerlessness, the field responds with more circumstances that confirm that state. But when you shift your language, even slightly, the entire field around you begins to reorganize. Words like "I choose," "I'm learning," "I'm growing," "I'm becoming," carry a different vibration. They show the lattice that you're stepping into a new identity. Empowered language aligns your mind with a future that's expanding, not shrinking. You don't have to pretend or lie to yourself. You just need to stop speaking in ways that collapse your field. Every empowered sentence strengthens your signal. Every word becomes a piece of the reality you're building. The sixth thing you must stop giving away is your vision by chasing what others value. This is one of the biggest traps in modern life. Everywhere you look, society is selling you a version of success. More money, more status, more popularity, more recognition. People end up running in circles, trying to meet expectations that were never theirs to begin with. But in Grinberg's teachings, true wealth isn't something external you chase. It's something internal you align with. Each person has a unique frequency in the lattice, a distinct signature. When you follow someone else's path, you disconnect from your own frequency. You start trying to tune into a signal that isn't yours, and because of that, the lattice can't support you the way it's meant to. Grinberg believed that abundance flows most naturally when your consciousness aligns with your authentic frequency. That means knowing who you are, what you want, what energizes you, and what your inner field resonates with. If you spend your life chasing things society told you were valuable, degrees, titles, cars, fame, but none of them match your internal frequency, you'll always feel like something is missing. You'll experience friction instead of flow, and that friction weakens your field. The lattice responds with obstacles, confusion, or emptiness. But when you honor your vision, your real vision, the one that comes from inside you, your energy becomes coherent. You stop running in every direction and start walking toward the life that matches your frequency. Letting go of external validation is one of the most liberating things you can do for your consciousness. When you stop giving away your vision, the world around you begins to change. You make decisions from intuition rather than pressure. You take steps that feel aligned rather than forced, and your field becomes stronger, clearer, more magnetized. The lattice responds to clarity. Vision is not about imitation, it's about alignment. And when you align with your own path, wealth becomes a natural byproduct, not a distant dream. The seventh thing you must stop giving away is your time without intention. Time is not just minutes and hours, it is the container that holds your consciousness. Every moment you spend comes with a cost and an exchange. How you use your time determines how strong or weak your energetic field becomes. If you waste time on meaningless tasks, mindless scrolling, unproductive habits, or conversations that drain you, you dilute your field. You scatter your inner energy, you send mixed signals into the lattice, and the field mirrors that lack of direction right back into your life. Grinberg saw time as a structure that consciousness flows through. He believed that the way you fill your time shapes the patterns in your neuronal field. Intentional time strengthens your signal. Unconscious time weakens it. Most people don't lose wealth because they lack opportunities. They lose wealth because they waste the container that holds those opportunities. They give away their time like it's infinite. They treat it as if it doesn't matter. But time is the one resource you can't replace, and when you allocate it carelessly, your field becomes fragmented. On the other hand, when you use your time consciously, even in small ways, everything begins to shift. 10 minutes of clarity is more powerful than an hour of chaos. A single hour spent aligning with your goals is worth more than an entire day spent in distraction. The lattice doesn't respond to how much time you have. It responds to the quality of energy within that time. When you fill your hours with intention, you strengthen your field, you sharpen your signal. You align your consciousness with abundance, not by force, but through presence. Being mindful of your time is being mindful of your power. There is also a deeper insight here, a bonus that ties everything together. Stop giving away your faith in the creative process. In Grinberg's work, manifestation is not just wishful thinking or mental effort. It's a deep alignment between your inner field and the universal field. Most people start strong. They visualize, they affirm, they meditate, but the moment they don't see instant results, they give up. They lose faith. They doubt the process. They begin to think their efforts don't matter. And the moment doubt enters the field, the signal collapses. The lattice responds not to your words, but to the vibration beneath them. If that vibration is uncertainty, the field becomes unstable. Faith isn't blind optimism. In Grinberg's framework, faith is a sustained coherence of your field. It's your ability to hold a vision even when the physical world hasn't reflected it yet. It's trusting the invisible alignment before it becomes visible form. When you give away your faith, when you hand it over to fear, impatience, or frustration, you disconnect from the process that's quietly unfolding in the field around you. You interrupt the creation before it's complete. But when you stay aligned, when you keep your road steady, when you trust that the lattice is responding even when you can't see it yet, you step into a different level of manifestation. Persistence becomes power, alignment becomes certainty, and the field begins to reshape itself in response to your unwavering signal. Everything Grinberg taught leads to one truth. Your reality is built from what you allow, what you protect, and what you refuse to give away. When you safeguard your language, your vision, your time, and your faith, your energetic field transforms. And when your field transforms, the lattice transforms with it. So as we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to breathe and really feel what we've uncovered together. If you truly want to attract wealth in the deepest, most expansive sense, you can't keep giving away the things that weaken your field. These 7 keys, plus that final bonus insight, are not abstract ideas. They're the energetic leaks that silently shape your reality. When you reclaim your attention, you reclaim your power. When you stop carrying beliefs that were never yours, your field becomes lighter. When you protect your emotional energy, you stop feeding the frequencies that block abundance. When you stop letting others define your identity, you open space for the version of you that is actually capable of wealth. And it doesn't end there. The language you use, the vision you hold, the time you spend, and the faith you place in the creative process. Each one reshapes the way your brain interacts with the universal field Grinberg described. This is not just mindset work. This is synergy. This is you aligning your inner field with the lattice of consciousness that responds to clarity, coherence, and intention. Wealth becomes possible when the inner world stops scattering itself in 1,000 directions. Wealth becomes natural when your field stops leaking and starts integrating. So before you move on with your day, ask yourself softly, which of these things have I been giving away without realizing it? Where have I let my energy drain? And most importantly, which one can I reclaim right now? Because the moment you do, even in a small way, the field around you shifts. The universe meets you where you finally meet yourself. This is how conscious alignment begins. This is how abundance enters, not as luck, but as resonance. If this message opened something inside you, if it made you reflect, or if you simply felt a spark of recognition, give this video a like. It helps the field spread to more people who need it. And if you want to keep growing with us, learning, exploring, and awakening alongside Grinberg's teachings, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your journey with consciousness and abundance is just beginning, and we're here to walk it with you.